There is a feeling, a quiet hum beneath the noise of your life, that something is not quite right. It is the feeling of being pulled. You are pulled towards things you want and violently pushed away from things you fear. You rush through your days, chasing deadlines, desires, and distractions, constantly striving. Yet at the end of the day, when the noise fades, you feel a profound exhaustion. We live our lives on the bank of a great, ceaseless river. This river is life itself. It is the flow of every moment, every thought, every sensation, every event. It moves in one direction, forward. Some days the river is calm and beautiful, carrying wonderful things past us. Other days it is a raging torrent, filled with sharp, dangerous debris. Look at the things that float by in this river of life. There are beautiful, glowing fish. These are the moments of joy, the promotion at work, the new love, the praise of a friend, the perfect sunset. They shimmer with promise. And so with desperate energy we cast our net. We try to catch them. We believe that if we can just catch enough of these glowing fish and keep them, we will finally be happy. Our entire focus narrows to this single, frantic task: catch the good things. But the river also carries other things: dark, sharp, jagged pieces of debris. This is the pain of rejection, the fear of failure, the sting of criticism, the sorrow of loss. When we see these things coming towards us, our frantic effort changes. We use our net not to catch, but to push away. We thrash at the water, trying to divert the painful things, to keep them from touching us. Our peace, we believe, depends entirely on keeping this dangerous debris at bay. And so our life becomes this exhausting dance. We cast our net for the shining fish of happiness, and we use it to fend off the sharp debris of pain. We are constantly reacting, constantly striving, constantly fighting the current. We are so busy with the frantic work of fishing that we never stop to question the work itself. We never ask, what if the problem is not the fish or the debris? What if the problem is the net and our desperate need to use it? The great Eastern philosopher, the Buddha, saw this struggle not just in one person but in all of humanity. He called this state dukkha, which is often translated as suffering. But it's a deeper, more subtle thing than just pain. It's the persistent, underlying feeling of dissatisfaction. It's the stress of wanting things to be different than they are. It is the friction that is created when our desire clashes with the reality of the flowing river. You know this feeling intimately. It is the anxiety of waiting for a message, the restlessness of wanting to be somewhere else, the frustration when things don't go according to plan, the subtle ache of knowing that even a perfect, happy moment will eventually end. This is the tension in the rope of your net. You are constantly pulling against the river of reality, and that constant pulling is the source of your weariness. The illusion we are trapped in is the belief that happiness lies in what we can pull from the river, and that suffering is what the river forces upon us. We believe we are victims of the river's whims. We curse it when it brings us pain, and we feel a desperate, fleeting joy when it brings us pleasure. We see ourselves as separate from the river, a lonely fisher locked in an endless battle with the water. This struggle defines the modern world. We are encouraged to want more, to achieve more, to secure more. We are given bigger and better nets, a better career, a more attractive partner, a faster car. We are told these new nets will finally allow us to catch the fish of permanent happiness. But we find that a bigger net is just heavier to hold. It gets tangled more easily. It creates a bigger struggle against the same relentless river. So the question we must ask is this: what if the entire strategy is wrong? What if the goal of life is not to become a better, more successful fisher? What if true peace cannot be found by catching or deflecting anything at all? What if freedom lies not in mastering the net, but in having the courage to finally and completely let it go? Faced with this struggle, our first instinct is not to let go. It is to double down. This is the common trap. We think, I am not happy because my net is not good enough. So we work harder. We build a stronger net, woven with ambition and relentless effort. We believe that with enough force of will, we can conquer the river. We can finally pull the fish of happiness onto our bank and keep it there forever, safe from the current. We try to build a dam. We see a moment of joy, a glowing fish, and we frantically pile up rocks and mud to try and stop the river, to create a small, permanent pond where our fish can live forever. This is our attempt to cling to a good moment. We get the promotion and we try to freeze that feeling of success. We fall in love and we try to bottle that initial ecstasy. But the river's nature is to flow. Our dam will always, eventually break. And what happens when the dam breaks? The water, once held back, now rushes forward with even greater force. The pain of losing the good thing is often worse than the initial pleasure of having it. The end of the perfect relationship, the fading of success, the inevitable change, it comes like a flood, washing away our flimsy constructions and leaving us sitting, soaking wet and defeated, on the muddy bank. The effort to cling creates an even greater suffering. The same is true for pain. When we see the sharp debris of a painful emotion or event coming, we build a wall to block it. This wall is our resistance. It is our denial, our anger, our attempt to say, "This is not happening to me." We exhaust ourselves holding this wall against the current, believing we can keep the pain away. We tense every muscle, both physically and emotionally, to resist what is already here. But no wall can hold back the river forever. Eventually, the pressure becomes too much. The wall crumbles, and now we are hit not just by the initial piece of debris, but by the full, concentrated force of all the pain we have been trying to resist. By fighting it, we gave it more power. The anxiety we refuse to feel, the grief we bottle up, it doesn't go away. It gathers strength behind our wall, waiting to break through. This cycle of desperately grabbing for pleasure and violently resisting pain is the very engine of our suffering. The Buddha called it the cycle of samsara. It is a wheel that we power with our own frantic energy. The brief thrill of catching a fish is followed by the terror of losing it. The temporary relief of blocking some pain is followed by the exhaustion of the effort. We are running on a hamster wheel, believing we are getting somewhere. This trap is so compelling because it feels productive. The world praises the person with the biggest dam, the one who has accumulated the most shiny fish. Society rewards the person who builds the strongest walls, who appears stoic and unaffected by pain. We are taught to be master fishers, to be expert dam builders. We are never taught that the entire enterprise might be a profound, soul-crushing mistake. We try to control not just the river of life, but the river of our own minds. We try to catch good thoughts and hold them. We try to block out bad thoughts and feelings. We tell ourselves, "I shouldn't feel sad," or "I must be happy right now." This is the same futile act of building dams and walls inside our own consciousness. We fight a civil war against ourselves and wonder why we have no inner peace. The flaw in this entire strategy is the belief that we are separate from the river. As long as we see ourselves as the lonely fisher on the bank, we are doomed to this struggle. We are defining ourselves by our opposition to the flow of life. We are a noun fighting a verb, an object fighting a process. This fundamental misunderstanding is the lock on the door of our illusory prison. So we get tired, deeply tired, the kind of tired that sleep cannot fix. It is soul weariness. The dams have all broken. The nets are torn and tangled. The fish we caught have slipped away and the debris has cut us. We are left sitting on the bank with nothing to show for a lifetime of struggle but our exhaustion. This is a moment of despair, but it is also the moment of greatest possibility. We look for distractions from this pain. We try to fill the emptiness with more entertainment, more shopping, more noise. We cast 1,000 tiny lines into 1,000 tiny puddles, hoping to catch something that will make us forget the roar of the great river. We scroll endlessly, seeking a small, shiny fish of validation or amusement. But this is just a smaller version of the same trap. It only deepens the underlying sense of dissatisfaction. The common trap is to seek a solution outside of ourselves. We look for a new philosophy, a new guru, a new relationship to save us. We want someone to give us a magic net that never breaks, or to teach us how to build a dam that will last forever. We are still looking for a better way to fight the river, instead of questioning the fight itself. But the key to the cage is not in anyone else's hands. The ultimate failure of this approach is that it is a fight against reality itself. The nature of life is to flow. The nature of joy is to be fleeting. The nature of pain is to arrive. The nature of thoughts is to arise and pass away. To fight this is to fight the fundamental laws of existence. It is like trying to fight gravity. You can leap into the air for a moment, but you will always come down. The moment of surrender is not a moment of weakness, but of profound strength. It is the moment we finally stop fighting a battle we can never win. We look at our torn nets, our broken dams, our tired hands, and we finally admit, I cannot control this. This admission is not defeat. It is the first step towards a completely different kind of victory. Sitting there with no net in your hands for the first time, a terrifying and wonderful silence descends. The constant hum of striving ceases. The frantic energy of wanting and resisting is gone. There is only the sound of the river. For the first time, you are not trying to get anything from it or push anything away. You are just there with it. And in that stillness, everything is about to change. And in that stillness, a new path is revealed. This is the pivot. The great insight of the Buddha was not a new technique for fishing. It was the radical, revolutionary idea of putting down the net entirely. It is the understanding that the source of our suffering is not the river, but our desperate, clinging relationship to it. Peace is not found in controlling the flow, but in learning to harmonize with it. This brings us to the central thesis, the key that unlocks the illusion. True freedom is not achieved by controlling the river of life, but by learning to watch its flow without attachment. The prison is not the river. The prison is the compulsive need to grab at what flows by. The moment you stop grabbing, the bars of the cage simply dissolve. You are never trapped by the world, only by your habit of clinging to it. So you sit on the bank, your hands empty. You watch the river. A beautiful, glowing fish swims by. Your first instinct, your lifelong habit, is to lunge for it, but you don't. You just watch it. You appreciate its beauty as it passes. You let it go, and you notice something astonishing. You are not in pain. The joy of seeing the fish was not diminished by letting it go. In fact, it feels purer, lighter. Then a piece of dark, sharp debris floats towards you. Your body tenses. The old habit of building a wall, of resisting, screams at you, but you don't. You just watch it. You acknowledge its presence. You feel the fear or sadness it brings, but you do not fight it. You simply watch it as it too tumbles past and continues down the river. And you realize you are not broken. You are still whole. This is the beginning of real freedom. It is the discovery that your well-being is not dependent on the contents of the river. Your inner peace is not a prize to be won by catching good things and avoiding bad things. It is a quality that you can cultivate within yourself, a state of being that is independent of the ever-changing flow of life. It is the peace of the silent witness. The Buddha taught that the cause of our suffering is tanha, which means thirst, craving, or clinging. It is the tensing of the hand, the casting of the net. It is this subtle, constant "I want," and "I don't want" that is the root of our discontent. By learning to watch the river without casting the net, you are learning to let go of this thirst. You are allowing the world to be as it is, and in doing so, you find peace. This is a radical shift in your life's purpose. You are no longer trying to be a successful fisher. You are now a student of the river. Your goal is not to accumulate, but to observe. Not to control, but to understand. You are moving from a life of frantic doing to a life of mindful being. The measure of your success is no longer what you have, but how peacefully you can watch it all come and go. Think of how this applies to your emotions. When a wave of sadness comes, instead of thinking, "I must get rid of this," you can learn to say, "Ah, this is sadness, I will watch it." You observe it without judgment. You feel its texture, its temperature, its weight. And by not fighting it, you allow it to flow through you and pass on its way, just like everything else in the river. The same is true for happiness. When a wave of joy comes, instead of desperately trying to hold on to it, you can savor it fully in the moment. You feel its warmth, its light. You are completely present for it, knowing that it too is a part of the river and will eventually pass. This knowing does not diminish the joy, it deepens it, because you are not distracted by the fear of it ending. This is the skill of mindfulness. It is not some mystical state, but a very practical ability. It is the ability to pay attention to the present moment, on purpose, without judgment. It is the training of your mind to sit on the bank of the river and simply watch, rather than automatically jumping in to fight the current. It is a muscle that you can strengthen with practice. The illusion of being trapped was created by the belief that I am the fisher, separate from the river. But as you sit and watch, a deeper realization begins to dawn. The thoughts, the feelings, the sensations that flow through the river of your awareness, they are not you. You are the silent, spacious awareness in which they arise and pass away. You are the sky, not the clouds. This pivot doesn't mean you become passive or that you stop living your life. It means you engage with life from a different place. You still take action, make decisions, and pursue goals, but you do it with less desperation. You hold your goals lightly. You are less attached to the outcome. You are playing in the river, but you are no longer drowning in it. You start to notice the beauty of the river itself. Not just the shiny fish, but the way the water moves, the patterns it makes, the sound it creates. You find a deep sense of peace in the flow itself. You realize that life's beauty is not just in the special moments you try to catch, but in the entire, uninterrupted, magnificent process of existence. This is the freedom the Buddha pointed to. Not a freedom from the world, but a freedom in the world. It is the end of the internal war. It is the discovery of a place of profound peace within you that is untouched by the chaos of the river. This is not an escape from life. It is the fullest possible embrace of life, in all its beauty and all its pain. With your net discarded and your mind settled, a new chapter of your journey begins. You have learned to watch the river. Now, you will learn to understand it on an even deeper level. This is the illumination of the path, where the simple act of watching transforms into profound wisdom. You are no longer just a spectator. You are becoming a connoisseur of reality. The first great truth you see is anicca, or impermanence. By watching the river day after day, you see with undeniable clarity that everything changes. The beautiful fish swims by and is gone. The ugly debris tumbles past and is gone. The weather changes. The river itself changes its course. Nothing is permanent. This is not a sad philosophical idea. It is the fundamental nature of reality. Understanding impermanence is the key to dissolving clinging. How can you desperately cling to a cloud? How can you build a dam to hold back a wave? It's impossible. When you truly, deeply accept that everything is in a state of flow, the impulse to grab and hold onto things naturally begins to weaken. You learn to appreciate things for what they are, temporary phenomena passing through your awareness. Think of your own thoughts. A thought arises, maybe a worry or a happy memory. If you are a fisher, you grab it and get tangled in it. But if you are an observer, you see it as a cloud passing in the sky of your mind. You note, a worry cloud. You watch it float by without getting on board. This simple shift is the difference between being controlled by your thoughts and being free from them. Next, you understand dukkha, or suffering, in a new way. You see that suffering is not the debris in the river. The debris is just pain, a natural part of life. Suffering is the tangled mess that happens when your net of desire gets snagged on the debris of pain. It is the struggle, the resistance, the "this shouldn't be happening" story you tell yourself. The pain is a clean cut. The suffering is the infection that comes from fighting it. By sitting on the bank, you learn to separate pain from suffering. When a painful feeling arises, you can experience the pure, clean sensation of it without adding the second layer of struggle. You let the pain be there without the story. And you find that pure pain, when not resisted, is bearable. It flows through you and passes. The suffering, the real problem, was your resistance to it. Finally, you see anatta, or no self. This is the deepest insight. As you watch the river of your experience, the thoughts, feelings, sensations, you look for the fisher. You look for the permanent, solid me who is having these experiences, and you cannot find it. The fisher, the solid self, was just another illusion, a story created by the mind. What you find instead is not a thing, but a process. There is seeing, but no permanent seer. There is thinking, but no permanent thinker. There is feeling, but no permanent feeler. The self is not a noun, but a verb. It is a dynamic, ever-changing pattern in the river. This realization is the ultimate liberation, because if there is no solid self to protect, who is there to suffer? This doesn't mean you cease to exist. It means you realize your true nature is far more vast and wonderful than the small, separate self you thought you were. You are not the fisher on the bank. You are the entire river of experience itself. You are the flow. The separation between you and the world was the core illusion all along. With this understanding, your relationship to pleasure and pain changes completely. They are no longer my pleasure or my pain. They are just colors in the river, patterns in the flow. You can experience them with a new sense of lightness and curiosity. The desperate need to own the pleasure and disown the pain simply vanishes. You are free to experience life as it is, without the burden of self. Compassion arises naturally from this insight. When you see another person struggling, frantically casting their net, you don't see a fool. You see yourself in a different stage of the journey. You feel their struggle as your own because you understand the universal nature of clinging and suffering. Your heart opens, not out of pity, but out of a deep sense of shared experience. You learn to act from a place of wisdom, not craving. When you decide to pursue a goal, it is not because you believe it will bring you permanent happiness, but because the act of creation itself is a beautiful dance with the river. You can build things, create art, help others, but you do it with a light touch, unattached to the results. The joy is in the skillful, mindful process, not the outcome. The practice of meditation becomes your laboratory. Each time you sit, you are returning to the riverbank. You are practicing the art of watching. You are strengthening the muscle of mindfulness. You are gently reminding yourself, again and again, to let go of the net and just observe the flow. It is not about stopping your thoughts, but about changing your relationship to them. This wisdom reveals that the trap was never locked from the outside. The door was always open. We were the ones holding it shut, by gripping our nets so tightly, by staring so intently at the fish and the debris that we never saw the open door right beside us. Freedom was always here, waiting for us to simply turn our attention to it. You find joy in simplicity. The frantic need for more, for constant entertainment, fades away. The simple act of breathing, the feeling of the sun on your skin, the taste of a cup of tea, these become sources of profound pleasure because you are fully present for them. You are no longer waiting for the next big, shiny fish. You have discovered the beauty in the simple water of the present moment. The fear of death also transforms. If you are a solid, separate fisher, death is the ultimate terror, the end of you. But if you realize you are the flowing river, what is there to fear? A wave subsides back into the ocean, but the ocean remains. You understand yourself as a part of a vast, ongoing process, not a fragile object that can be broken. The illumination is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process of seeing more and more clearly. Each day, you notice the subtle ways you still try to cast your net. You see the mind's habit of clinging and resisting. And each time you see it, you smile and you gently let go again. It is a continuous practice of returning to the peace of the observer. Your life becomes a work of art, not a static sculpture of achievements that you desperately protect, but a beautiful, fluid dance. You learn to move with the music of the river, to respond to its rhythms with grace and wisdom. You are no longer fighting reality. You are dancing with it. And in this dance, you find a joy that is deeper and more resilient than any pleasure you could ever catch. You understand that every moment is a teacher. The difficult conversation teaches you patience. The boring task teaches you mindfulness. The moment of anger teaches you about attachment. The river, in all its forms, becomes your guide. You stop judging your days as good or bad. Every day is simply a new opportunity to practice watching, learning, and letting go. The need to be right falls away. Arguments and conflicts are often born from clinging to our own views as if they are solid treasures. When you see your opinions as just more objects floating in the river, you can hold them lightly. You can listen to others with genuine openness, because you are no longer defending a fragile sense of self. This brings profound peace to your relationships. This wisdom is profoundly practical. In a moment of high stress at work, you can mentally step back to the riverbank. You can watch the storm of emails and demands as just debris in the water. This inner space allows you to respond with clarity and calm instead of reacting with panic. You become an island of peace in the middle of the storm. You stop trying to change other people. You realize that everyone is on their own journey at their own point on the riverbank. You cannot force them to drop their net. All you can do is sit peacefully on your own bank. Your calm, your freedom, your quiet joy. This is the most powerful invitation you can possibly offer. It shows others that a different way of being is possible. The constant noise of the inner critic, the voice of judgment and self-doubt, begins to quiet down. That voice is just another piece of debris in the river. You learn to watch it float by without believing it. There goes the not good enough thought, you can say, with a sense of light-hearted detachment. The critic loses its power when you stop giving it your attention. The world is full of things designed to hook you, to make you cast your net. Advertisements, social media, political outrage, they are all bait. With your new wisdom, you can see the hook. You can appreciate the shiny lure for what it is without feeling the compulsion to bite. You gain a level of immunity to the manipulation of the modern world. You realize that the entire universe is a single, flowing process. The atoms in your body were once in a star. The water you drink has been in countless clouds and rivers. The sense of being a small, isolated self dissolves into a feeling of profound connection with everything. This is not a belief, but a direct perception born from watching the river. The ultimate illumination is simple. Peace is always available, right here, right now. It is not in a future achievement or a past memory. It is in the space of awareness that is reading these words, that is hearing this voice. It is in the simple, profound act of letting go of the net and resting in the stillness of the present moment. This is not about becoming unfeeling. It is about feeling more fully but less reactively. You experience the full spectrum of life's colors, the bright golds of joy and the deep blues of sorrow, but you are no longer stained by them. You are the clear glass through which the light of experience passes, remaining unstained and whole. You learn that wisdom is not about accumulating knowledge, but about shedding illusions. Every time you let go of a belief, a desire, a resistance, you become lighter. The spiritual journey is not one of addition, but of subtraction. You are returning to the simple, open, boundless awareness that was your original nature before the nets of conditioning were ever cast. The distinction between work and play begins to dissolve. Every action, whether washing the dishes or leading a meeting, can be a form of meditation, a dance with the river. When you are fully present without clinging to outcomes, every activity becomes an opportunity to experience the peaceful flow of life. You find strength in softness. The reed that bends in the wind survives, while the rigid oak tree cracks. By letting go of your rigid positions and your resistance, you become more resilient. You can navigate the storms of life with greater ease because you are no longer trying to stand against them, but to flow with them. This wisdom is not an escape. It is a profound engagement with reality as it is. It is the brave act of looking at life without the filters of your desires and fears. It takes courage to see the world without the comforting illusion of control, but the reward is a peace that cannot be shaken, a freedom that cannot be taken away. The search for happiness ends. You realize that happiness was never a thing you could find and keep. It was a byproduct of the chase, the fleeting thrill of catching a fish. What you have found instead is something far more valuable, a deep, abiding peace, a quiet joy in just being. This peace is not dependent on what the river brings. It is the peace of the river itself. You have learned that the trap was made of your own clinging. The bars were your desires. The lock was your fear, and the key all along was the simple, courageous power of your own awareness. To pay attention, to watch, to let go. This is the simple, profound, and life-altering path to liberation. You see the world with new eyes, a world not of separate objects to be acquired or feared, but a single, interconnected, flowing reality. You are not a stranger here. You are a wave in the ocean, a leaf on the tree, a part of the whole. This perception is the end of loneliness. The journey of illumination has brought you here. From a frantic fisher, to a weary failure, to a still observer, to a wise participant. You have seen the nature of the river and the nature of yourself. You have dismantled the illusion brick by brick, by the simple power of looking. Now, only one step remains. You have watched the river for a long time from the safety of the bank. You understand its flow. You no longer fear its contents. You feel a new calling, not to control the river, but to join it. To move from watching life to becoming fully one with its flow. This is the final and most beautiful stage of the journey. And so you take that final step. You step off the bank and into the water. You leave the solid ground of the observer behind. The water is cool and the current is real. For a moment the old fear might flicker. The instinct to fight, to swim against the current, to get back to the safety of the bank. But you don't. You remember. You let go. You surrender to the flow. You lie back and you let the river hold you, and a miracle occurs. You do not sink, you float. The river that you fought against for so long, the current that exhausted you, now carries you effortlessly. You are supported by the very thing you once saw as your enemy. All you had to do was stop fighting it. This is the synthesis. This is the ultimate aha moment. You are the river, the fisher, the bank, the net. These were all ideas. The only reality was ever the flow, and you were always a part of it. The feeling of being a separate self, struggling against the world, was the grand illusion. In letting go, you have not been destroyed. You have merged with everything. As you float, the glowing fish of joy swim around you. You can feel their warmth, their light, but you have no need to catch them. They are part of you. The sharp debris of pain also floats by. You can feel its coldness, its sharp edges, but it does not harm you because you are not solid. You are water. It passes right through you. Let's restate our thesis in its most complete and powerful form. The illusion is the belief that you are a separate self, trapped in a struggle with the river of life. The truth is that you are the river, and your freedom is realized not by catching or fighting, but by surrendering to your own flow, experiencing everything without clinging. This is the state of nirvana. It is not a place you go to after you die. It is a way of experiencing this life, right now. It is the end of the war between me and the world. It is the peace that comes from realizing there was never any separation to begin with. It is the effortless joy of being carried by the stream of life. You are no longer on the bank looking at life. You are life itself, looking through a temporary pair of eyes. Every sight, every sound, every sensation is the universe experiencing itself. The burden of being a separate you who has to navigate the world and get it right is lifted. There is only the dance. This is the ultimate freedom. Not the freedom to have whatever you want, but the freedom from the frantic wanting itself. Not the freedom from pain, but the freedom from the suffering that comes from resisting pain. It is a peace that is not dependent on circumstances. It is the profound, unshakable peace of your true nature. The illusion you were trapped in was your own perspective. It was a prison with no walls and an open door. By shifting your perspective from the frantic fisher to the flowing river, you have simply walked out of the prison and into the boundless reality that was always waiting for you. You have come home, not to a place but to a state of being. You have woken up from the dream of separation. The search is over. There is nothing to find, nothing to achieve, nothing to become. There is only this, the gentle, effortless, and endlessly creative flow of now. Now let's bring this journey back to your own life right here, right now. The river is your daily experience. The flow of emails, conversations, news headlines, and the constant stream of thoughts and emotions in your own mind. You are standing on the bank, feeling tired, feeling pulled and pushed by it all. What is the glowing fish you are desperately trying to catch right now? Is it a promotion? Is it the approval of a certain person? Is it the feeling of being in control? Identify it. See it for what it is, a beautiful, shimmering thing in the river. But also see how the frantic effort to catch it is the source of your anxiety. And what is the sharp debris you are trying to push away? Is it a feeling of loneliness, a fear of failure, a difficult memory? See how you build walls against it, the endless scrolling to avoid the feeling, the angry outburst to push it away. See that your resistance to the debris is what is truly exhausting you. The Buddha's teaching is not to abandon your goals or to wallow in pain. It is an invitation to change your relationship with them. Can you pursue your goal with passion, but without the desperate clinging to the outcome? Can you allow a painful feeling to be there, without the frantic resistance that turns it into suffering? This begins with one moment of practice. The next time you feel the hook of desire or the sting of aversion, just for a second, drop the net. Take one conscious breath, step back to the riverbank in your mind and just watch. There is wanting. There is fear. Don't judge it, don't fix it. Just see it. This 1 second of mindfulness is the beginning of your freedom. So I will not give you a 5-step plan to happiness. That would just be another net. Instead, I will leave you with a single, transformative question to carry into the river of your life. A question that can act as your guide, your teacher, and your key. Ask yourself this in any given moment of struggle. Am I fighting the river? Am I trying to hold onto something that wants to pass? Am I trying to push away something that is already here? This question instantly brings you back to the observer's seat. It reminds you that you have a choice, not about what the river brings, but about whether or not you cast the net. Do not expect to master this overnight. You have been a fisher your whole life. The habit is strong. The practice is not about never casting the net again. The practice is about noticing more and more quickly when you have cast it, and then gently, without judgment, letting it go again. This gentle, repeated act of letting go is the path itself. Your life is the river. It will have moments of breathtaking beauty and moments of challenge. The illusion is that you are trapped by these things. The truth is that your peace is found in your relationship to them. By learning to flow with life, you discover a freedom that was there all along, waiting beneath the struggle. The fisher believes they can find happiness outside themselves. The observer knows that peace is an inside job. The floater understands that there is no inside or outside. There is only the flow. We hope this journey has helped you feel the current of your own life and given you the courage to finally let go.